Hold the Line, The Art of Self-Control. Introduction. The Hidden Power Within. We live in a world of instant gratification. Temptation is just a tap away. Distractions surround us, and the line between needs and wants has never been more blurred. Social media urges us to compare. Advertisements tell us we need more, and in the midst of it all, we are left feeling scattered, drained, and uncertain about how to take control of our lives. But there is one force that separates those who thrive from those who merely survive: self-control. Self-control is the foundation of all great achievement. It is the ability to manage your emotions, override impulses, and choose the path that leads to long-term fulfillment instead of short-term pleasure. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. Self-control is not about punishment or denial. It's about freedom, the freedom to choose what truly matters, to act in alignment with your values, and to rise above the noise of the world. You don't need superhuman strength to master self-control. What you need is awareness, strategy, and practice. This book will give you all three. It will teach you how to train your willpower, understand your emotional triggers, create empowering habits, and stay focused in a world of endless temptation. Self-control is the hidden power within you. When you learn to hold the line, to stand firm in the face of distraction, doubt, and desire, you unlock your potential to live with purpose and power. So let's begin the journey. Hold the line. Discover the art of self-control. Chapter 1. What is self-control? Self-control is the ability to regulate thoughts, emotions, and behaviors in pursuit of long-term goals. It's not about being robotic or emotionless. It's about being mindful and deliberate. It shows up in small decisions: resisting another cookie, choosing to exercise, saving money instead of spending, and in big ones, like staying in a difficult relationship for the sake of growth, or turning down a high-paying job that conflicts with your values. People often confuse self-control with suppression, but real self-control is not about burying feelings. It's about managing them. It's not about white-knuckling your way through temptation. It's about changing the way you see temptation in the first place. Self-control is also deeply connected to purpose. When you have a clear vision of what you want in life, it's easier to resist distractions. When you know your values, you make choices that align with them. This internal compass makes self-control less about force and more about flow. Understanding that self-control is a skill, not a fixed trait, is empowering. You can improve it, strengthen it, and develop it just like any other skill. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. One misconception about self-control is that it requires constant struggle. In truth, people with high self-control often struggle less, not more. They create systems and routines that make good decisions easier. They don't rely on willpower all the time. They rely on smart habits and supportive environments. You may not feel naturally disciplined, but that doesn't matter. What matters is your willingness to grow. Self-control begins with awareness. It thrives on intention, and it blossoms through daily practice. In this chapter, we've defined self-control as mindful regulation of thought and behavior toward a greater goal. As we continue, you'll learn how to strengthen it, protect it, and make it work for you in all areas of life. Self-control is not about saying no to everything. It's about saying yes to what truly matters. It's about directing your life instead of being dragged by it. Start here, start small, and watch your inner strength grow. Chapter 2. The Science Behind Willpower. Willpower is the engine behind self-control. It's the internal resource that allows you to resist short-term temptations in order to meet long-term goals. But like any resource, it can be depleted and replenished. Psychologists have studied this phenomenon extensively. One of the key concepts is ego depletion, the idea that self-control draws on a limited pool of mental energy. Just like a muscle, willpower tires with use. The more decisions you make in a day, the harder it becomes to resist temptation or make high-quality choices as the day goes on. However, more recent studies suggest that ego depletion is influenced not just by biology, but also by belief. If you believe your willpower is limited, you're more likely to give up when you feel tired. If you believe it's renewable, you tend to bounce back more quickly. Mindset matters. The brain's prefrontal cortex is the control center for willpower. This part of the brain is involved in planning, decision-making, and regulating behavior. When the prefrontal cortex is active and healthy, you're more likely to act with discipline, but stress, fatigue, and distraction weaken its function. Fortunately, just like a muscle, willpower can be trained. Mindfulness meditation strengthens the prefrontal cortex and improves impulse control. Regular exercise boosts overall brain health, making you more resilient. Getting enough sleep, eating well, and reducing chronic stress all support mental stamina. Sleep is particularly important. Studies show that sleep-deprived people make poorer decisions and are more likely to give in to temptation. Willpower needs rest to regenerate. A well-rested brain is a disciplined brain. Another essential concept is decision fatigue. Every decision you make, from what to wear to what to eat, consumes willpower. By reducing unnecessary decisions, you free up mental energy for what really matters. This is why routines and habits are so powerful. They eliminate choice and preserve willpower. Consider this. High achievers often reduce decision fatigue by simplifying their lives. Steve Jobs famously wore the same outfit every day. Athletes follow strict routines. Writers set daily schedules. It's not about rigidity. It's about conserving willpower for what counts. Understanding the science of willpower empowers you to work with your biology instead of against it. You learn to plan better, rest more intentionally, and create systems that support your goals. To build willpower, start with small wins. Set a daily task that challenges your discipline, even something as simple as making your bed or resisting a snack. Celebrate your consistency. Small victories compound. Remember, willpower is not about being perfect. It's about making intentional choices, managing your energy, and recovering when you fall short. Train your brain, strengthen your focus, fuel your energy, and keep your long-term vision in sight. You have more power than you think. Chapter 3. The Enemy Within, Temptation and Impulse. Temptation is not new. Since the dawn of humanity, we have wrestled with desires for food, comfort, status, and pleasure. In modern life, temptation has evolved into an ever-present force, amplified by technology, marketing, and convenience. It is no longer a rare challenge, but a constant companion. And if we want to master self-control, we must understand and tame this inner force. Temptation itself isn't inherently bad. It's a signal, a messenger, that tells us something about what we want, what we fear, or what we value. But if we follow every urge without reflection, we become slaves to impulse. Self-control is the ability to pause, reflect, and choose consciously instead of reacting automatically. Impulse control begins with awareness. You must learn your triggers. What situations cause you to act impulsively? When do you tend to overeat, overspend, or lose your temper? What emotions make you vulnerable to bad decisions? Loneliness, stress, boredom, anxiety. Once you've identified your triggers, you can begin to intercept the impulse. This is where techniques come into play. Delay. This is one of the simplest and most effective tools. Tell yourself to wait 10 minutes before giving in. Often, the urge fades during this pause. Distraction. Shift your focus to another activity. Go for a walk, drink a glass of water, or talk to a friend. Breaking the mental loop interrupts the compulsion. Substitution. Replace the negative behavior with a healthier one. Instead of grabbing a sugary snack, choose a piece of fruit. Instead of scrolling social media, read a few pages of a book. Temptation thrives on secrecy. When you keep your struggles hidden, they grow stronger. But when you acknowledge them, share them, and create accountability, their power weakens. Talk to someone you trust. Join a support group. Keep a journal. These tools help bring unconscious impulses into the light of awareness. Another effective approach is visualization. Picture the consequence of giving in the disappointment, the setback, the guilt. Then picture the pride and progress of resisting. Visualization helps train your brain to see beyond the immediate pleasure to the long-term benefit. Temptation can also be reduced by managing your environment. If you're trying to eat healthy, don't keep junk food in the house. If you're trying to reduce screen time, keep your phone in another room during work or sleep hours. If you're trying to avoid negative influences, spend less time with people who encourage destructive habits. Psychologists have found that people with high self-control often don't have more willpower. They simply design their lives in ways that reduce the need for it. They don't fight temptation constantly. They avoid it proactively. Your body plays a role too. Fatigue, hunger, dehydration, and stress all lower your resistance to temptation. Take care of your physical needs. Sleep enough. Eat nourishing food. Move your body. When your body is strong, your mind is clearer and more disciplined. It's also important to understand the reward loop. Every time you give in to an impulse, your brain releases dopamine, a chemical associated with pleasure. Over time, your brain begins to crave the dopamine hit, not the activity itself. You're not addicted to the cookie or the Instagram scroll. You're addicted to the feeling. Recognizing this loop is the first step in breaking it. You can retrain your brain. Begin to associate pleasure with self-mastery. Feel the pride that comes from choosing discipline. Let your reward be the sense of empowerment that follows every small victory. Temptation is not a sign of weakness. It is a test of strength. Every time you resist an unhealthy impulse, you are building mental muscle. Every small act of control adds up. Over time, you become the kind of person who naturally chooses the higher path. Remember, temptation may never fully disappear, but with awareness, strategy, and consistent action, it loses its power. You remain in control. You hold the line. Chapter 4. Building Mental Muscle. If you've ever tried to change a habit, resist a craving, or stick to a new routine, you've probably noticed how difficult it can be. That's because self-control isn't something you turn on and off, it's a mental muscle. And just like your physical muscles, it gets stronger the more you train it. The good news? You don't need dramatic changes to begin strengthening your self-control. In fact, it's the small, consistent challenges that have the biggest impact. Start by setting mini challenges each day. It might be something as simple as making your bed every morning, taking a cold shower, turning off your phone for 30 minutes, or walking instead of driving. These little actions may seem insignificant, but each one is a mental rep, a signal to your brain that you are in control. Repetition builds resilience. The more you follow through on your intentions, the more you reinforce the belief that you are someone who keeps promises to yourself. And that belief is the foundation of self-discipline. But beware of willpower fatigue. Like a muscle, your self-control can get tired. If you try to change too much too quickly, you risk burnout and disappointment. That's why it's better to focus on one habit at a time, gradually building up your strength. To make this work, tie new habits to existing routines. For example, if you want to start journaling, do it right after brushing your teeth. If you want to stretch daily, do it after your morning coffee. This technique, known as habit stacking, makes new behaviors easier to remember and stick to. Tracking progress is also key. When you write down your goals and celebrate small wins, you stay motivated. You see evidence of growth. And most importantly, you remind yourself that you are capable of change. Mental toughness isn't just about grit and grinding. It's about patience, strategy, and consistency. It's about showing up even when it's hard and proving to yourself that you have the strength to choose your values over your urges. Here are a few simple exercises to build mental muscle. Practice delayed gratification. Wait 10 minutes before acting on a craving. Use your non-dominant hand for everyday tasks, like brushing your teeth. This trains your brain to resist automatic behaviors. Fast from one comfort sugar, social media, Netflix for 24 hours. Do something uncomfortable daily. Speak up in a meeting, take a cold shower, go for a run. Stick to a small routine for 30 days. Choose one habit and do it every day without fail. Remember, every act of self-control, no matter how small, is a vote for the person you want to become. Each time you resist the urge to quit, scroll, overeat, overspend, or give in to fear, you're strengthening your mental muscle. You won't be perfect, but perfection isn't the goal, progress is. Day by day, rep by rep, you are becoming stronger. You are building a mind that holds the line. And when challenges arise, as they always do, you'll have the inner strength to meet them. So keep going. Train your will like a warrior. And remember, the battle is won in the small moments, long before the big ones arrive. Chapter 5. Habits, Discipline, and Daily Structure. Self-control is not only a matter of resisting temptation in the moment, it's also about shaping your life so that temptation has less power over you. That's where habits and daily structure come into play. Habits are the brain's way of conserving energy. Instead of making hundreds of small decisions throughout the day, your brain creates routines. Once something becomes a habit, it takes less willpower to maintain. This is why people with strong routines often seem to have more self-discipline. They've automated many of their good decisions. Discipline is the engine behind habit formation. It's what keeps you moving forward before the routine sets in. Discipline is not punishment. It's commitment. It's the choice to do what you said you would do even when you don't feel like it. Building discipline starts with knowing your why. What are you working toward? Why does it matter? The clearer your purpose, the easier it becomes to stick with your habits when motivation fades. Next, simplify your goals. Don't try to overhaul your entire life in 1 week. Choose one area, maybe waking up earlier or reducing screen time, and focus on it. Break the goal into manageable steps. Track your progress. Reward your consistency. Daily structure supports discipline. A well-planned day leaves less room for distraction and procrastination. Try to wake up and go to bed at consistent times. Schedule your most important task during your peak energy hours. Set boundaries around work, rest, and screen time. Build in breaks and buffers to prevent burnout. Morning routines are especially powerful. Starting your day with purpose sets the tone for everything that follows. You might include exercise, reading, journaling, or meditation, anything that grounds you and energizes you. Nighttime routines are just as important. They help you wind down and prepare your mind for rest. Avoid screens, plan tomorrow's priorities, and practice gratitude. Remember, structure is not about rigidity, it's about rhythm. The goal is not to micromanage every second of your day, but to create a flow that supports your values and goals. When life feels chaotic, structure brings calm. When motivation is low, discipline carries you. And when decisions become habits, self-control becomes effortless. Every choice you make is a chance to strengthen your structure. Every habit you form is a vote for the person you're becoming. So be intentional. Design your days with care. Live with rhythm, not randomness. Because when your life has structure, your self-control has support. Hold the line and let your habits carry you forward. Chapter 6. Emotional Mastery. Emotions are powerful forces that influence nearly every aspect of our lives. They color our perceptions, shape our decisions, and often determine how we react to challenges and opportunities. Without emotional mastery, self-control becomes a shaky, unreliable skill. But with it, we gain clarity, resilience, and the ability to steer our lives with intention. Self-control is not about denying or suppressing emotions. It's about understanding and managing them in a way that serves our long-term goals. Emotions are not the enemy. They are signals, valuable data about our inner state and environment. Learning to listen to and interpret these signals is the foundation of emotional intelligence and, by extension, true self-control. The first step toward emotional mastery is awareness. Too often, emotions catch us off guard, pushing us into impulsive reactions. But if we train ourselves to notice emotions as they arise, we can create space between feeling and action. For example, imagine you receive a harsh critique at work. Your initial reaction might be anger or defensiveness. But if you pause and simply observe your feelings without immediate reaction, you gain a moment to choose a more constructive response. Exercise. The pause technique. When you feel a strong emotion brewing, stop what you're doing. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Name the emotion aloud or silently. I am feeling frustrated, or I am feeling anxious. Decide how you want to respond, not react. Practicing this pause regularly strengthens the pause muscle, helping you respond intentionally rather than impulsively. Naming emotions. Labeling emotions reduces their intensity. Neuroscientific research shows that naming feelings activates the prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of the brain, and calms the amygdala, the emotional center. This simple act helps regulate emotional storms. For instance, instead of saying, I'm upset, get more specific. I feel disappointed. I feel overwhelmed. Or, I feel insecure. The more precise you are, the easier it is to address the root cause. Understanding triggers. Emotions often arise from specific trigger situations, thoughts, or memories that spark a reaction. Identifying these triggers is key to managing emotional responses. Keep a journal for a week and note moments when you feel strong emotions. Write down what happened just before the emotion. What thoughts were running through your mind? What physical sensations did you notice? This practice increases self-awareness and helps you spot patterns. For example, you might realize you feel anxious before meetings or angry when you're hungry. Once aware, you can take proactive steps, such as preparing more thoroughly or eating before stress-inducing events. Emotional intelligence. Recognize, understand, manage. Emotional intelligence, EQ, is a vital skill for self-control. It involves recognizing emotions in yourself and others, understanding why those emotions occur, managing your emotional reactions. High EQ individuals do not suppress their feelings, they process them thoughtfully. This ability reduces impulsive behaviors like yelling, overeating, or procrastinating. Self-compassion. Emotions are not failures. It's easy to judge ourselves harshly for feeling negative emotions, but emotions themselves are neither good nor bad. They just are. Self-compassion means accepting your feelings without shame or guilt. When you're compassionate with yourself, setbacks become opportunities to learn rather than reasons to quit. Instead of thinking, I shouldn't feel this way, say, it's okay to feel this. What can I do now? Building an emotional toolkit. Developing effective strategies to regulate emotions is essential. Here are several techniques you can add to your emotional mastery toolkit. Deep breathing. Journaling. Writing about your feelings helps clarify thoughts and release tension. Physical movement. Exercise, yoga, or even a short walk can shift emotional energy and reduce stress. Mindfulness meditation. Regular mindfulness practice increases your ability to observe emotions without attachment. Creative expression. Art, music, or dance can be powerful outlets for emotional release. Talking it out. Sharing feelings with a trusted friend or therapist provides perspective and relief. Respond. Don't react. Reacting is immediate and often unconscious. Responding is deliberate and thoughtful. Emotional mastery is about moving from reaction to response. Consider an argument with a loved one. A reactive response might be shouting or withdrawing. A responsive approach involves listening actively, acknowledging feelings, and expressing your perspective calmly. This skill takes practice, but transforms relationships and personal well-being. Emotional resilience, growing through challenges. Mastering emotions does not mean avoiding difficulties or negative feelings. Emotional resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity stronger and wiser. Resilience grows through facing emotions head-on, learning from experiences, and maintaining hope. Chapter 7. The Role of Environment. Our environment is a silent architect of our behaviors. It shapes our choices, habits, and ultimately, our ability to exercise self-control. Many people imagine self-control as an internal battle fought purely by willpower, but the reality is that external surroundings play a pivotal role, often more powerful than the force of will alone. Imagine walking into your kitchen late at night and seeing a bowl of candy on the counter. That simple visual cue can trigger cravings and weaken your resolve, even if you were determined not to snack. Now, imagine the candy is out of sight, or not there at all. Suddenly, the temptation diminishes. This example highlights a crucial truth. Environments can either support or sabotage your self-control efforts. By consciously designing your surroundings, you make it easier to hold the line. Environmental design, making good choices easy. Behavioral science teaches us that the path of least resistance shapes habits. When good choices require less effort, they become more automatic. Here are practical ways to design your environment for success. Remove temptations. If you want to eat healthier, keep junk food out of your home. If social media distracts you, uninstall apps during work hours or use website blockers. Use visual cues. Place reminders of your goals where you see them, often sticky notes on your mirror, motivational quotes on your desk, or images that inspire you. Create dedicated spaces. Have a specific place for focused work, free from distractions. Likewise, create a relaxing space for rest and meditation. Organize for efficiency. Clutter drains mental energy and invites procrastination. A tidy, organized environment supports clear thinking and focus. Social environment. The people around you. Your social circle profoundly influences your behavior. Humans are social creatures. We naturally mirror and conform to those we spend time with. This can be either a source of strength or weakness. Surround yourself with people who embody qualities you admire: discipline, positivity, resilience. These relationships encourage your best self to emerge. Conversely, toxic or unsupportive relationships drain willpower and increase stress. Evaluate your friendships, colleagues, and even casual acquaintances. Are they helping or hindering your self-control journey? It may be uncomfortable, but sometimes distancing yourself from negative influences is necessary. Digital environment. Managing the attention economy. In today's hyper-connected world, our digital environment is one of the most challenging to manage. Social media, notifications, emails, and endless content streams compete for our attention relentlessly. This digital bombardment can fragment focus and drain willpower. Here's how to regain control. Set boundaries. Schedule specific times for checking emails or social media. Outside those windows, turn off notifications. Use technology wisely. Employ apps that limit screen time or block distracting websites. Practice digital minimalism. Unsubscribe from unnecessary emails, mute group chats that aren't essential, and declutter your digital devices. Engage in tech-free activities. Read a book, take a walk, or spend time with loved ones without screens. Physical environment and energy. Your physical surroundings affect not only your behavior, but also your energy and mood. Natural light, fresh air, comfortable seating, and even colors impact focus and motivation. Incorporate elements that enhance well-being. Open windows. Let in natural light and fresh air. Add plants. Indoor greenery reduces stress and improves air quality. Comfortable workspace. Invest in ergonomic furniture. Calming colors. Blues and greens promote relaxation and concentration. The power of routine and rituals. Environmental cues also include the routines and rituals you build. These create predictable patterns that reduce decision fatigue and make discipline more sustainable. For example, having a morning routine where you wake up, meditate, exercise, and plan your day signals to your brain that it's time to focus. These rituals anchor your self-control efforts in daily life. Overcoming environmental challenges. Sometimes environments change beyond our control, moving to a new city, starting a new job, or coping with family dynamics. These shifts can disrupt routines and challenge self-control. When this happens, reassess your environment consciously. Identify new triggers and obstacles. Create new supportive habits and spaces. Seek out new social support or communities. Flexibility is key. The ability to adapt your environment and mindset in response to change strengthens self-control over time. Chapter 8. Focus, Attention, and Energy. Self-control is deeply intertwined with focus, attention, and energy. Without them, even the strongest willpower can falter. In fact, the ability to direct your attention deliberately and manage your energy effectively is foundational to mastering self-control. The nature of focus and attention. Focus is the mental muscle that allows you to concentrate on what matters most, to block out distractions, and to engage deeply with tasks. Attention is the gateway through which all learning and action flow. However, focus is a limited resource. We cannot attend to everything at once. In our modern world, where distractions abound, protecting and strengthening our focus is more important than ever. The challenge is not simply about having willpower, but about managing where and how we apply it. The attention economy and digital distractions. Technology is a double-edged sword. While it provides tools for learning and connection, it also pulls our attention in 1,000 directions. Every ping of a notification, every pop-up alert, every flashing icon is engineered to capture your focus, often for someone else's gain. This constant distraction fractures attention, leading to attention residue, the lingering preoccupation with one task while trying to focus on another, which reduces productivity and drains mental energy. Strategies to protect focus. To hold the line with self-control, you must guard your attention vigilantly. Prioritize single tasking. Multitasking is a myth. Studies show it decreases efficiency and increases errors. Focus on one task at a time, giving it your full attention. Time blocking. Allocate specific blocks of uninterrupted time to work on important tasks. Use timers or apps to create focus zones. Limit notifications. Turn off non-essential alerts on your phone, computer, and other devices. Use Do Not Disturb modes during focused work periods. Create rituals. Begin work with a consistent routine, such as a short meditation or organizing your workspace, to signal your brain to focus. Practice mindfulness. Regular mindfulness exercises train your brain to notice distractions and gently bring your attention back, improving sustained focus over time. Energy management, the fuel for self-control. Willpower is not just about mental effort. It depends heavily on your physical and emotional energy. Imagine trying to resist temptation while exhausted, hungry, or emotionally drained. It's nearly impossible. Energy is the foundation of focus and self-control. When your energy is low, decision-making deteriorates, impulses gain strength, and motivation fades. Here's how to manage your energy effectively. Sleep. Quality sleep is critical. It restores brain function, replenishes willpower reserves, and regulates emotions. Prioritize 7-9 hours nightly. Nutrition. Balanced meals with protein, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates stabilize blood sugar and provide sustained energy. Hydration. Even mild dehydration impairs cognition and focus. Exercise. Physical activity boosts mood, reduces stress, and enhances cognitive function. Stress management. Chronic stress drains energy and reduces self-control. Practice relaxation techniques such as deep breathing, yoga, or nature walks. Understanding decision fatigue. Decision fatigue is the deteriorating quality of decisions made after a long session of decision-making. It leads to impulsive choices and reduced self-control. To combat decision fatigue, simplify choices. Reduce trivial decisions by automating routines, e.g., meal prepping, wearing similar outfits. Prioritize important decisions. Make key decisions when your energy is highest, often early in the day. Limit options. Too many options can overwhelm and drain energy. Narrow choices to what truly matters. The role of mental rest. Rest is not laziness. The brain requires downtime to consolidate memories, process emotions, and restore cognitive function. Incorporate regular breaks during work sessions. The Pomodoro technique, working for 25 minutes then resting 5, boosts sustained focus. Short walks or moments of silence refresh attention. Avoid digital distractions during breaks. Instead, engage in relaxing activities. Cultivating attention muscle through practice. Just like physical exercise, attention improves with deliberate practice. Meditation. Regular mindfulness meditation strengthens the brain areas responsible for attention control. Reading. Engaging with challenging texts requires sustained focus. Creative work. Activities like writing, painting, or playing music demand deep attention and flow. Emotional energy and self-control. Emotions consume energy. High emotional arousal, whether excitement, anger, or anxiety, can either enhance or undermine self-control, depending on how it's managed. Learning to recognize emotional states and regulate them prevents energy depletion. Techniques like journaling, talking with a trusted friend, or breathing exercises can restore emotional balance. Chapter 9. Delayed gratification and long-term thinking. One of the greatest challenges to self-control is the conflict between short-term desires and long-term goals. At its core, self-control is the ability to delay gratification, choosing future benefits over immediate pleasure. This chapter explores why delayed gratification matters, how it shapes your life outcomes, and practical ways to strengthen this vital skill. The science of delayed gratification. The concept of delayed gratification became famous through the marshmallow test, a psychological experiment conducted by Walter Mischel in the 1960s. In the study, children were given a choice: eat 1 marshmallow immediately or wait 15 minutes to receive 2 marshmallows. The ability to wait was a powerful predictor of success later in life, linked to higher academic achievement, better health, and more satisfying relationships. This simple test illustrates a profound truth. Success often depends on resisting immediate temptations in favor of longer-term rewards. Why is delayed gratification so hard? The human brain is wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Immediate rewards activate the brain's dopamine system, creating feelings of pleasure and reinforcing behaviors. On the other hand, future rewards feel abstract, distant, and uncertain, making them less motivating. Moreover, stress, fatigue, and negative emotions shrink our capacity for delay. When tired or upset, the brain favors quick fixes and instant gratification. How long-term thinking changes your life. Long-term thinking shifts your perspective from "what do I want now" to "what do I want most." It involves clarity of vision. Defining meaningful long-term goals helps you stay focused. Future self-awareness. Imagining and empathizing with your future self encourages choices that benefit you down the road. Patience. Accepting that meaningful results take time and effort. By cultivating this mindset, you transform self-control from a struggle into a natural part of your identity. Practical strategies to build delayed gratification. Visualize your goals. Create vivid mental images of your desired future. Imagine the emotions, the environment, and the people involved. This vision fuels motivation to resist immediate temptations. Break goals into smaller milestones. Large goals can feel overwhelming and distant. Divide them into achievable steps and celebrate each small victory. This approach provides regular rewards and reinforces persistence. Use if-then planning, also known as implementation intentions. This technique helps automate responses to temptation. Example: if I feel like checking social media during work, then I will take 3 deep breaths and refocus on my task. Practice gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have, increasing contentment and reducing impulsive urges. Limit exposure to temptations. Remove or reduce cues that trigger immediate gratification. If sweets tempt you, keep them out of sight. If online shopping distracts you, use website blockers. Strengthening your future self-connection. Research shows that people who feel a strong connection with their future self are more likely to make disciplined choices. Here are ways to enhance this bond. Write letters to your future self. Reflect on your current struggles and hopes. Use age-progressed images. Seeing an image of your older self can make future consequences more real. Practice mindfulness of time. Regularly remind yourself that the choices you make today shape your future reality. Overcoming setbacks and delayed gratification. Everyone experiences moments of weakness. Relapse doesn't mean failure, it's part of growth. Don't dwell on mistakes. Forgive yourself and refocus. Learn from triggers. Understand what led to the lapse. Renew commitment. Revisit your goals and vision. Chapter 10. Self-control in relationships. Self-control is often tested most deeply in the context of our relationships, not just with romantic partners, but with family, friends, colleagues, and even strangers. While self-control might be associated with solitary habits or personal discipline, it's in our interactions with others that its true depth is revealed. Relationships bring out our highest hopes and our deepest vulnerabilities. They challenge our patience, ego, empathy, and emotional maturity. That's why mastering self-control in relationships is essential for emotional well-being and long-lasting connection. The social mirror. People are mirrors. They reflect not only who we are, but who we're trying to become. In emotionally charged situations, we may want to react to lash out, defend, shut down, or manipulate. But true strength is not in giving in to emotional reflexes. It's in choosing our responses consciously. Self-control in relationships means listening when we want to interrupt. It means staying calm when we're hurt. It means expressing ourselves honestly without cruelty. It is the art of creating space between stimulus and response. Emotional triggers and reaction patterns. We all have emotional triggers, specific words, tones, or behaviors that set us off. These are often tied to past experiences and fears. Recognizing them is the first step to gaining control. Common reactive patterns include defensiveness, reacting to perceived criticism by attacking or withdrawing. Blame, shifting responsibility to avoid discomfort. Silent treatment, using silence as punishment instead of communication. Outbursts, letting frustration erupt instead of processing it. Self-control doesn't mean suppressing emotions. It means observing them without being ruled by them. Self-control also means setting boundaries clearly and respectfully. Boundaries define what is acceptable for you and protect your energy, time, and emotional well-being. They are not walls. They are doors with locks, which you open thoughtfully. Saying no is an act of maturity when it aligns with your values and protects your peace. Examples of healthy boundaries. I need time to process before continuing this conversation. I won't engage in yelling or name-calling. I'm not available to talk right now, but I can later. Boundaries must be followed with consistency, not just declared in frustration. That's where self-control comes in. Self-control in conflict. Conflict is inevitable. How we handle it defines the health of our relationships. Strategies for self-control in conflict. Don't fight to win. Fight to understand and grow. Winning the argument but losing the connection is not a victory. Take breaks if needed. If you feel overwhelmed, it's okay to pause the discussion. Say, I need a moment to calm down, and I'll return to this. Avoid personal attacks. Focus on behavior and impact, not character or identity. Return with clarity. After cooling down, return with the intention to resolve, not to retaliate. Forgiveness, the ultimate self-control. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing harm. It means choosing to let go of resentment for your own peace. Forgiveness is an act of self-control, releasing the need to punish, to be right, or to hold a grudge. It doesn't make you weak. It makes you free. This applies not only to others but to yourself. In relationships, we often carry guilt or shame for mistakes. Self-forgiveness allows you to grow and love more fully. Modeling self-control for others. When you show emotional regulation, others often rise to match it. Your presence becomes calming. Your consistency earns trust. Children, partners, friends, they learn from how you handle stress, disagreement, and affection. By modeling self-control, you invite others into a higher standard of relating. The line you choose to hold. Self-control isn't about forcing yourself into a rigid mold or living a joyless life of restrictions. It's about reclaiming the power to choose moment by moment the life you want to live and the person you want to become. It's the quiet strength to pause before reacting, to speak with intention, to delay gratification for something more meaningful, and to rise again after you stumble. You've now explored what self-control truly is. A learned skill, a mental muscle, a source of inner freedom. You've uncovered how willpower works, how emotions and environment shape your choices, how to build resilience after failure, and how habits and discipline can shape your days. And most importantly, you've seen that holding the line is not about being perfect, it's about being present. It's about staying true to your vision, even when it's hard, even when no one is watching, even when you fall. This journey is lifelong. The line will move, bend, and sometimes blur. But each time you choose awareness over impulse, discipline over chaos, progress over comfort, you strengthen that line. You reinforce who you are and who you're becoming. Remember this. Self-control empowers you to direct your own life. Discipline gives your dreams a spine. Emotional mastery makes space for wiser action. And resilience, not perfection, is what makes you unstoppable. Now the question is not whether you'll be tempted, distracted, or tested. You will. We all are. The real question is, what line will you choose to hold no matter what? That line defines your character. That line becomes your legacy. So hold it. Hold it with clarity. Hold it with courage. Hold it with compassion for yourself and strength for the life ahead. Because the art of self-control is not about restriction. It's about liberation.